How the hell's it going today, beautiful people of YouTube? My name is Fitz and I hope you're all having a freaking fantastic day. I'm back here in Fallout 4 again today with another guide for you guys. Now I told myself I wasn't going to do another guide like this so soon, but this video had to happen because there are way too many so-called tutorials and guides out there at the moment floating around that really leave a lot of things out and really just show very, very poor examples. So I've been busy in the workshop mode over the past week cooking up some examples to show you guys, plus I've learned quite a lot about the different little things that you need to power your settlements. So today we'll be covering a little bit about generators, some connectors and switches, and a little bit about lights and how those work. Outer connectors and switches, we'll be looking at pylons, conduits and switches. I won't be going over any of the pressure plates or any of these things because I really have no idea how any of those work. But I have been playing with all of these and they're really all you're going to need to power your settlements very well. So let's get into this. Alright, first things first. We have our small power pylon. We have our very large power pylon. Then we have our three sized conduits. We have one for sitting on roofs or floors. We have one for sitting on the sides of buildings or walls. And then of course one for the insides of your settlements or any buildings that you have. Just remember that conduits can also be placed on any wall that is existing within your settlement, so existing buildings and things like that, as you can see here. And they can also be placed on some of the trees. Some of the large trees like this you can do. Little ones, unfortunately, they just clip straight through. And also, as well as going on trees and existing buildings and structures, they can also be placed on some of these bushes, like so. So when scrapping your settlements, just take note of any little things that you can put conduits on to add that little touch to your settlements. Now all these things here are used to carry your power across large distances, because you'll see here if I grab this and connect a wire to it and I walk away a bit, you'll see that it turns red. Now that indicates the maximum length that this wire can travel. So if I take this guy over here, connect him up to that, and if I try to move this guy back anymore, you'll see that it turns red, which means the wire is either come into contact with another object, or in this case it has reached its maximum length. So that there is the maximum length that you will get out of any wire in the game. So power pylons and conduits will be very useful indeed for transferring power across your settlements. Next up we have switches. Switches of course allow you to turn the various things off and on at will. How exactly do you use a switch? So you'll notice we have a generator here, our switch, and then we have our light, which we want to turn on and off with the use of this switch. So what you want to do is you always want to connect your power source to your switch first. Now anything that you connect to this power pylon will be turned on and off with the switch, as we see here. Can be turned on and off. Okay, so that generator there produces 3 power, so we can use that 3 power to power 2 more of those lights. But what if we didn't want to use the switch? What if we wanted to say, I don't know, power those lights over there by our crops? We would simply just place a power pole in the middle between the two, connect them up, connect our lights up, and there you have it. Those lights will continue to run even when I run over here and turn this switch off. There you go. And we run back over here and our lights should still be on. There we go, brilliant. And if you wanted those guys to run on a separate switch, you would simply just replace this pylon here with a switch pylon. Or if you wanted both of them, all 3 of these lights to run off the same switch, you would have to just simply do that there. And then now all our lights should come on with our switch. Brilliant. So yes, that is how switches work. Now one thing I see a lot of people leaving out about these things, and they don't seem to realise, is that all of these things that I've just shown you have one very important feature in common, and that is that they all radiate power within a certain field around them. So as you can see, this wall switch, there's nothing connected to it at all. You just simply place it on the wall. If we connect this generator up to it, you can see that it will power all our lights in here, and that's because they are all within the field of power. So if we grab this wire off that and we connect it up to this big guy, you can see that those lights pop back on. And if I pick him up and move him, you can see that they go on and off as I move in and out. Now that's because, as I said, it's producing a little field of energy that anything within that will be powered. Now if I move this guy back, right, so that's the edge right there. If I grab this little guy, place him right next to it, and grab this wire, connect it up, you'll notice the exact same thing happens. It's roughly, I'm 99.9% sure that all of these things produce the same energy field. So the field at which these things all radiate energy is exactly the same. Now how big exactly is that field? As you can see, we have one single power conduit there on the wall, and as you can see, this gives you quite a good idea at just how much radius these things actually have. Don't you think? I thought so. But that's on the side of the wall. What about the power pylons? For the power pylons, simply hit that switch and we'll step up on up here. As you can see, we have one single power pylon. And if I was to pick up any of these walls and move them out just the slightest little bit, they would of course go dark. So if we look up, we can also see that it does in fact go up quite a bit. That is 3 stories right there, so 2 walls below it, and that is the third one. So 3 stories up, or 2.5 stories up, and then I believe it will go 2 stories, 2.5 stories down as well. So that gives you a really good idea just on the radius of these things. So if you have those dotted all throughout your settlement, you know, and they're all within range of each other, you should have no dead spots, and you know, it should work pretty well for you. Alright, so that should give you a pretty good idea on how most of those work. Now let's go over quickly generators. We have our very small generator, produces 3 power. We have our medium-sized generator, which produces 5 power. And we have our large generator, which produces 10 power but requires a rank 1 in science to build. And then of course we have the wind turbine. Massive and looks pretty cool, but only produces a measly 3 power, just like our small generator. So how much can we actually power on one of these things? Well, I'm glad you asked. If all you want to do is put some lights and stuff up around your settlement, then well, you're in luck, because you can power an absolute shit ton of lights off just one little generator. As you can see, we have got a crap ton of lights here, and that's not even the max. Like, I do not know how many lights I can place here. Like, as far as I know, you can just like keep placing lights until you fucking can't build anymore, like I can't. As well as TVs. See, TVs and most lights only require power, so they only require being within the field of your power. So we have our one power pylon here, which is radiating that field of energy we just spoke about. So everything within that is going to be powered, including our TV, which only requires being within the field. So if we grab something that requires power, but requires a number, like our construction light here, he requires 1. So if we hook him up to our power pylon, he's going to be using 1 of the 3 power, generated by our generator. Things like this, where it has a number next to the power, they have to be directly tied into your power grid, which is why we have to connect him to our power pylon right here. So we've got another 2 construction lights here, and this is where things start to get interesting. So if we connect these 2 bad boys up, you can see that we connect this 3rd one up, right, everything is still powered. So our 3 construction lights require 3 power, and we are generating 3 power from our small generator. So if we were to connect up this 4th one to our power grid, what would happen is half of our stuff will die. Now that indicates that we are not generating enough power to power all the various things that we need, that we have connected to our power grid. So to fix that, all you need to simply do is just build another generator. Simple as that. And just connect that little guy up to your existing generator, and that should fix your problem. If some of your lights don't come back on, because every now and then when that happens, some of your lights won't come back on, you may just have to pick them up and replace them down again. But that should fix any problems that you have with your power. So when you are building your settlements, take note of how much power you're going to have to generate to power your various objects. Because if you start introducing things into your power grid that require power and you're not generating enough, you're going to see some lights and things dropping off. So do take note of that. So that's how the various little things work that you're going to need to power your settlements. Now I'm just going to run through a few little examples of how I've powered a couple of the houses around here, just to give you guys an idea on what you can achieve with these different things. So first demonstration is going to be what not to do. As you can see here, this just looks fucking horrid. Like, so ugly, so much. This is how a lot of the tutorials and guides were telling you guys how to freaking power your houses, by the way. I'm just letting you guys know. Like, this is... yes, it does work. It does power the house quite nicely, but it just looks disgusting and is severely inefficient. Look how many wasted resources there are. Just absolutely retarded how much of a waste that is. So, I'm going to show you now what you should do. Let's move down the road. Step on over to this house. No exterior wires. This is a nice clean look if you're worried about your exteriors, or if you have a very large base, then you might want to consider doing this. As you can see, all I have are 2 power conduits, one here and one at the other end of the house, connected by 1 wire, and that's it. This conduit is of course in range of our switch, which is how it is getting power, and it is connected to the other one which is powering it. So that is providing a nice little field of energy to power this entire house. And as you can see, 2 wires. 2 fucking wires. 1 generator, 1 switch, 2 power conduits, and 2 freaking wires. That's it. None of that shit. Fuck that shit. Example number 2. The wind turbine. If you're worried about the environment, then throw a wind turbine on your roof. You can't go wrong. But do note with the wind turbine that their connection is at the back of them. So if this guy was facing the other way, I would not be able to connect that wire without it hitting the roof. So do keep that in mind. So as you can see, we simply have 2 power pylons in place of our conduits sitting on top of our roof. Come down, we flick our switch, beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. This is a nice look if you want a clean interior. If you don't like the look of, you know, walking through wires or whatever, then this is for you. Moving on to our final example. This is by far my favourite. With some of the longer houses, you might find some dead spots, because I wanted to make sure there was power in this carport. so I had this guy right on the end. So I did find there was a couple of dead spots, so I've just thrown a power conduit in the middle there to help remove any dead spots that there was. And I'll simply run over here, flick my beautiful switch on the wall, and it's so awesome. So awesome. It's that easy, guys. Like, I don't know what those other guys were thinking in those other videos. Yeah, just fucking put copper all the way around your house, you know? It's not like it's the most useful fucking item in the game or anything. Just waste it all. So my friends, I really do hope you can see how much time and effort I have put into bringing you guys this video today. I didn't just piss about. I actually put in time and got to know the various things, so I could bring you the most informative video I could, so you guys could power your settlements as efficiently as possible. So if you guys did enjoy this thing and you did learn something, then please smash that like button, and I will see you in the next one. It's been Fitz. Later.